Well, hey everybody, this is Lisa from True North Homeschool Academy. Let's talk transcripts. I feel like people are so intimidated about transcripts, and I want to help you think about them in a way where you just feel confident about them because you don't have to be intimidated about a transcript. So let's start off with what is a transcript? A transcript is simply this: an accurate record of the work your kids have done in high school. Can you add credits from eighth grade, seventh grade, junior high? Absolutely. So a transcript again is just like a resume. You don't make up a resume, you're just recording your work history, your education history, etc. Do you put every dishwasher job that you've ever done on a resume? Maybe not, maybe so. A transcript is simply that. You're not making it up, it's just a record of the work that your kids have done. Now, I like to do a transcript in 2 pages. The first page is a typical academic transcript. And it can be by subject. I saw this question this morning in one of our groups, or it can be by year. I prefer by year. So ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, over by subject, where you do English and list all the English, science, list all the science. The reason I like to do this is because your transcript is really about who's going to read it next. If you're applying to college, you want it scannable so that the admissions counselor, who might literally be getting thousands and thousands and thousands of transcripts in a matter of weeks, you want them to be able to scan it and put in the pile to be processed and go on to the next phase of the application and admissions process. If it's not scannable, if there's anything that stands out or that they need to check, they'll put it over here in the to get to later pile. The reason why you want it to go to the pile where it goes on to the next part of the process is because of this. Parents, you're so worried if your kids can get into college. Your kids can get into college. That's really not even the question right now. That's not even the big deal right now. Your kids can absolutely get into college. The baby boom is over. Over 1 million kids are dropping out of college every year. So they are doing this constant recruitment process to get kids into their programs. Your kids can absolutely get into college. The question you as parents really need to be asking, instead of can my kid get into college, is how is my kid going to pay for college? This is the number one important question, because most kids graduate in 6 years, not four, with over $37,000 in debt or more. If they graduate, just over half the kids who start college graduate. But again, they only graduate in 6 years, not four. So you really need a good strategic plan. All that to say, yes, your kid can get into college. How are they going to pay for it? And how are you helping them strategize getting through it as quickly as possible with the least amount of debt as possible? Okay, so the first page of the transcript, I'm going to post our transcript template in here. It's only $5.99. It's such a bargain, and you could just plug and play. We also have academic advising. We'll help you with it. We have typical course of studies available for you. We're your resource for high school, right? Okay, so first page of a high school transcript, you're going to list your classes by subject or by grade, or by subject or by year. The second page of your transcript is what I like to call the addendum page. And on the addendum page, I list by year, so 2024, work experience, community service, those amazing standout factors that your kids have been working on, and anything else like I don't know, they traveled to Timbuktu last year. That's kind of important. Some of these things you don't want to get lost in the credits. So, if you like, I've told this story so many times, I don't know who I've told it to, and I just came off of 3 weeks of speaking and traveling, so I've told my stories over and over. But I worked with a student years ago. He was the youngest licensed pilot in his state. No kidding. It wasn't anywhere on his transcript. So who would know? So that's transcriptable, right? That's transcript worthy because it's an amazing standout factor. It shows that he has all sorts of soft skills like communication, creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and it really shows that he can start something hard and finish it. You don't want that lost in credits. You don't want to say, well, aeronautics science 1 credit necessarily. You could use it for that too, but I would put that on the addendum page, where he took his training, how many hours were involved, like 1,500, how much solo time. I'm making those numbers up. I don't know how many hours are involved. If you won any awards, if you got special certifications or anything like that. I talked to somebody yesterday, their son is getting drone certified. Now, becoming drone certified is a big deal because it's not a separate certification. You have to kind of go through some pilot training, honestly. So, do you want that lost in a credit or do you want to put that on the addendum page? If it's really a standout factor, definitely put it on the addendum page. You want to make sure on the addendum page you put the student's last name and first name, the years that they attended high school, and any other identifying marks that will help if it gets separated from the transcript, the first page of the transcript, help it get put back together in the kiddo's file, right? So I think that an addendum page is super helpful. So again, a transcript is just a simple record of what your kids have done over the course of high school, and the addendum page helps substantiate that. Not only did they do these academic classes, but they did some pretty amazing other things too. I would suggest 15 hours of community service a year. Most high schoolers, they just think their life is normal, and it is, and it should be, right? Most of us, our kids get up, there's food in the fridge, there's gas in the car, they do activities. They don't realize that if you have a pet, you probably make over $25,000 or $30,000 a year, right? If you have an SUV in your driveway, you probably make over 50 or 75,000. Again, I'm making these numbers up, but most kids aren't aware that what it costs to have the lifestyle that they do. And doing community service can really help them get outside of their life, to understand that there are other people in different social stratas with different challenges and different opportunities too, honestly. So community service is such a great tool to use during high school. It can really help your kids develop soft skills, empathy, compassion, etc., and also a sense of gratitude. Community service has been a little bit more difficult since 2020 because of just the germ factor, but there's so many ways to serve where you don't actually have to go be in a place. You can do coat drives, food drives, call your local food pantry and see what they need, and then your kids could go try to find that item or whatever. Start a local drive in your homeschool community or with churches or whatever. Call local churches, see if they have babysitting needs or sound equipment needs or anything like that. Those are great volunteer opportunities. And then also work experience. Look, colleges are looking for people who have a work ethic because, again, the dropout rate in college is so very high right now. So they're looking for students who can start something and finish it well. And showing a work history in high school is a great way to do that, of saying, hey, I show up for my job, I've been at my job for 2 to 3 years, and get a reference from that work, a place of employment for your application file, if that makes sense too. Okay, if your kids do anything like arts or theater, music, absolutely put that down. And don't forget to include performances if they were the lead part in anything, if they won any kind of awards. These again show soft skills. And you want to demonstrate that your kids have academic hard skills, because hard skills are easily definable. Things like I speak German or I can code a computer. Can't do either of those things, but you get the idea. Soft skills are those more complex things like I communicate well. Well, does that mean that I can persuasively talk you into my idea, or does that mean I'm Hitler and screaming at you into submission? Soft skills are more difficult to define, right? But they're super important. So things like working and community service demonstrate soft skills. And again, colleges are looking for kids who can start things and complete things. While we're on the topic of what schools are looking for, they're looking for two things as your kids come into college. They are looking for the student individually. Do they feel a need for us? Are they going to be a science person for us, or how well of a student are they going to be? Are they going to come in? Are they going to finish? Are they going to perform? Are they going to add to our student profile? Because every school has a student profile. The second thing that they're looking for is the overall student body coming in. So they need to hit certain marks. They're looking for certain demographics and those kind of things, again, for their student profile and for government money. Those things, the overall student body things, those change year to year. So while your kid might have gotten accepted in one year, maybe not the other year. But again, your kid can get into college, and if you're struggling with that, or they've been rejected or whatever, feel free to jump in and touch base with us at True North Homeschool Academy. You can always make an academic advising appointment. We'd love to look over your stuff and help you figure out how to tweak and do that. Now, if your kids are trying to get into an Ivy League school, or an military academy, you want to start that application process sooner than later. You want to be really intentional because they're competitive, and if they get into one of those opportunities, a military academy or an Ivy League, and they can accomplish it and they can finish it, they can be set for life because of the connections that they make and the opportunities that those paths provide. Um, so, you want to start sooner than later. It's not impossible to get into a military academy or Ivy League if you don't start till 10th or 11th grade, but you're going to have to get super, super intentional and focused. And again, I would hire somebody who knows what they're doing and can provide some guidance for that. And just somebody who's gone before you. There's some great Facebook groups, etc. Also, if your kids is looking for an NCAA scholarship, absolutely know what you're talking about sooner than later. Get resourced and informed because you have to fill out core course worksheets, and if and you want to keep up to track with them because going back and trying to replicate what you did 3 years ago can be a stretch. So again, there's some really great Facebook groups for that can really help guide you on that path. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of things already, but again, a transcript, just an accurate record of what your kids have done in high school. I like to, on the transcript portion, we do follow a typical course of study at True North Homeschool Academy, and that is really focusing on the core four: math, science, English, history. Now, you guys have heard me share this story before. My youngest daughter took 8 credits of foreign language and one of high school science when she graduated and got scholarships and went on to college science and got an A, not a problem. It doesn't have to be a typical course of study on the transcript to get a great scholarship and to get into the college of your choice. But again, you want to be intentional. And I would say don't just slack. I mean, there's a difference between unschooling and non schooling. You want to make sure that you're actually educating your kids. Can be very non-traditional. I like to always say we were unschooling, classically unschooling. Nobody really knew what that meant, but I knew what it meant. And we had so many opportunities for our kids to really dive into the things that they loved and make sure that you have opportunities for your kids to do things that they love as you're building the transcript. Because here's the deal: we can become a slave to the transcript, we can become a slave to the curriculum, we can get all worried about if our kid's going to get into the right college and blah, 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 blah. And the reality is, we have this amazing opportunity as homeschoolers to see our kids, to really get to know them, to really like see what the things are that are of interest to them, the things that they're passionate about, the things that they love, and we can speak into that and resource them. And we can create amazing opportunities for our kids. Public school can't do that. Private school can't do that unless it's a micro school and there's like 8 kids in a class, and even then it's hard, right? But as homeschoolers, we can really speak into those amazing things that are interesting to our kids. I think it's always so fascinating what's amazing, what's interesting to me versus what's interesting to you or the next person, because those interests come from within often, right? Something piqued our interest, something really sparked something in our heads, and I think that that's God ordained. I think that our areas of interest are really kind of from the divine, right? Because what's interesting to me, you might not even care about. But the things that I follow, that I become passionate about, and I serve the world and the community with, that's a gift to all humankind, right? And same for you. The things that you get really interested in, that you really go after, that you really become an expert in and share and are passionate about, that is a gift to the world. And it's the same for our kids. Malcolm Gladwell made famous this idea that 10,000 hours equals expertise, right? But it's not just unintentional 10,000 hours. It is intentional, studied 10,000 hours where we're really trying to wrestle with and understand and grapple with ideas. Now, that might seem impossible for our kids to be an expert before they graduate from high school, but let me share this with you. From the time your kid starts kindergarten to the time they graduate is 14 to 15,000 hours. That means literally your kid has time to become an expert and a half in something. Now, my daughter was talking to somebody last week at one of the conventions, and she mentioned that she's done 5 years of Hebrew study. She's fluent in Hebrew. She's really studied philology and memory and the brain. And the guy looked at her and he said, "So basically, you don't have a college degree, but you really have master's level work under your belt. You really have master's level knowledge." And she was like, "Huh? I actually do." So your kids actually can become an expert in something before they graduate from high school. Should everybody do that? Probably not. But if you have a kid who is focused and intentional, and you as a parent are too, there's no reason why they can't. That develops their standout factor for college scholarships and all those kind of things. It also might pave a way for a vocation or an entrepreneurial endeavor or resources or connections around the world. My daughter had someone from a different country approach her last week about working for them full time because of this body of knowledge she has. So don't overlook the fact that your kids absolutely can become an expert before they graduate from high school. And yes, follow a typical course of study if that's your jam. Absolutely. Your kids need to know United States government. Your kids need to know basics of economics, how to write a solid essay, how to do some research that's really truly research and not just going down a rabbit hole that substantiates their ideas and their thoughts. They need to know math. They absolutely need to know math to protect their own finances. They need to know I think I've covered all of them: math, history, science, reading, English. They need to know those things. But do you have to do one boring class after another boring class after another boring class just to meet a typical course of study and to fulfill a typical transcript? No, no, you do not. You have all this freedom as a homeschool parent. And for goodness sake, take advantage of it. If you're not sure how to think outside the box and you want to, or your kid is like a non-typical learner, or they're like, Mom, I want to write a novel in high school. Call us. This is what we do. Join our Facebook group, Homeschooling Looks Like Tribe, or It's Not That Hard to Homeschool, or start a chat on the website at True North Homeschool Academy. That's what we're all about at True North Homeschool Academy. And it's not that hard to homeschool and blue collar homeschooling, because we know that you as parents who are home educating have stepped off this traditional path and you're doing something hard and challenging and difficult. Let's be honest. Homeschooling is not super easy. Homeschooling is challenging. We have bad days. Our kids have bad days. We're jagged learners. Our kids are jagged learners. Sometimes our kids' jaggediness really bumps up into our jaggediness and we can't stand each other. You burned the food. You ran out of food. The dog puked. And this was my day yesterday. Our poor little puppy puked all day long. I spent so much time cleaning up dog grossness. That is how the days go some days. Homeschooling is hard because you've got everybody with you in your house all the time. When I was growing up, my mom and dad, there was three girls. We were all teens at the same time. We had white carpet. Our house looked pristine at all times. Part of that had to do with my parents, but part of it had to do with the fact that we were all out of the house by 7 a.m. and we usually didn't come home till dinner time, made dinner, did some homework, went to bed. When you're home schooling, everybody's home most of the time. You're making messes, you're struggling, you're wrestling, you're laughing, you're living life. And life, let's be honest, life is messy. And so you have the messiness of life in your face 24/7. And so it's going to just be challenging. But you as parents who have stepped off the treadmill of conventional lockstep method education for the sake of your kids, we at True North Homeschool Academy applaud you. And we want to come alongside you as much as you need to or don't, because we know it's a hard journey and we know it's a really worthy journey. And it's a great journey to set your kids up for amazing success as adults: academic, vocational, financial, social, familial. These are all paths to success that homeschooling sets your kids up really well for if they choose to embrace it and if you do. So transcripts, not so hard, people, not so hard. I'm going to link the transcript template. Again, it's just an accurate view of what your kids have done in high school. And so you want to have those academic skills and you want an addendum page with all those amazing other things that your kids have done. If you feel like it's kind of slim and you're not sure what to put on there, start a chat. Come on over to the Facebook groups and let us know what you're thinking. We also have free log sheets. I'll link those too. And you can just log music, work, community service, art, theater, sports. Just log it. It's absolutely acceptable for you to have 2 credits of music or art every single year, especially if your kid is a musician or in theater or musical theater. Absolutely acceptable for you to have 2 credits of PE a year, especially if your kids are doing any kind of athletics. Listen, I've worked with Olympic athletes and NCAA hopefuls, and they're logging 40 hours in a week or two, right? So if your kid's an athlete or into any of those kind of things, it's not going to look really weird for you to have 2 credits of both of those on your transcript every single year. Totally fine, totally acceptable. Okay, if you're worried that your kid is skewed, I had one of my kids, brilliant in English, not so smart in math. She had like 6 or 8 credits in English and 1 or 2 in math. She didn't get past Algebra 1 in high school. Totally okay. Again, we're all jagged learners. That is not going to keep your kids from getting into college. It's not going to keep your kids from getting college scholarships. That daughter of mine got a full year full ride scholarship, not academic. So there's other types of scholarships out there, and your kid might be the recipient of one of them. So if you're worried about how to make this all work, we'd love for you to get into the groups. And if you really want to talk with an advisor, we would love to work with you on that too. As always, we have a 2-year free academic advising plan. There's a simple form for you to fill out. It's on the front page of the website at truenorthhomeschool.academy. And you just scroll down and you can click that. There's a form. We want to know what your kids' areas of interest are, where you see them going after high school. We'll create a 2-year plan based on where they're at this year. So if they're in 7th grade, we'll do 8th and 9th. If they're in 10th grade, we'll do 11th and 12th, etc. And we just ask simple things like, do you see them taking dual enrollment, etc. Because it is personalized, not as in depth as if you do our full academic advising program with Tamara Poole, who is amazing in every way possible. So if you want more personalized attention, go to the academic advising tab at the top of the website and click there. We also, as always, have performance series test, and I like this test. If you don't know where you're starting, it's really hard to know where you're going. The performance series test does a great job of giving you feedback on where your kids are at. It's just a diagnostic tool. It doesn't define who they are. It doesn't say you're a loser or anything like that. It just says, here's where you're at by individual and grade level. And I like the test for those reasons because it gives you enough information to make sense of things. It also gives course objectives. So if you take the English, reading, science, or math portion, it'll give you 5 course objectives in each of those sections. If you just do one section, of course, you get course objectives for that. But we can run up to 200 objectives for each section. So if you get the results back and say, hey, I need more info, we can absolutely run more info for you, and we'll help you just understand the test if you need that too. So we have a lot of resources for you at True North Homeschool Academy, as well as it's not that hard to homeschool. And we would love to come alongside you this school year. And listen, our live online classes, 2nd through 12th grade, open for enrollment right now. Head on over to the website and check them out. If you have any questions about transcripts, we're here for it. We have done hundreds, maybe even thousands of transcripts at this point for students around the world who have gone on to start their own business, gone into the military, gone to military academies, gotten married, gone to college and university, gone to Ivy Leagues, gotten NCAA scholarships. We've worked with the whole gamut from learning disabled to actually gifted, and kind of some of both, because doubly gifted kids are an actual thing. And we love to work with homeschool kids. We love to work with homeschool families. That's our whole mission and the purpose of what we're doing. Hope you guys are having a great day. I will talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.